Well, hey y'all, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe wherever you are around the world. I am excited to be here and I am excited to be sharing with you this opportunity to share some things that I've learned over my vast years of experience as a developer. No, I don't know. I am still learning um, all the time, and I hope you are too. Um, there were two fish. One fish turns to the other and says, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" Oh, I messed up my own joke. They're in a tank. A tank. During these unprecedented times, there's so much disruption and confusion and noise. You might feel like a fish trying to drive a tank too. Well, I want to share with you some principles and practices that I've picked up over the years that I believe will help you. Some things you can take away that might help you right away, and perhaps I hope there are some things I'm going to share with you that may help you for the rest of your life. Several years ago, I participated in a men's program called Men's Fraternity. It's designed to help men understand real, authentic manhood, especially for those of us who grew up without a good role model. How to be a better husband, a father, a better son, a worker, a friend, how to live with integrity, how to take responsibility, fighting for the rights of others, and the list goes on and on. Um, I highly recommend a study like this if you can find one in your area. One of the things that came up during the study is, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want written on your tombstone? Now, I know it's kind of a morbid, uncomfortable thought, but have you ever taken the time to really think about it? Another way to look at it may be living with the end in mind. What is it that you want to be remembered for? Living with the end in mind can shape your focus, it can, your priorities, your values, and what's most important to you. Now, I believe you may not realize it, but you are awesome. Now, we may have never met before, but I believe that you are an awesome person. You are uniquely gifted to do amazing things that no one but you can do. Unfortunately, most of us struggle with lies, lies that the world has told us about who we are and what we're capable of, who we're not supposed to be, lies that we've told ourselves when we compare ourselves to others, and we somehow don't measure up with what we think we should be able to do. Well, I want you to stop listening to those lies. Creativity and imagination and lots of other tools that you were born with are like a muscle. You still have these things. You probably were really creative and imaginative when you were a small child, and had went on great adventures, and the floor was lava, and you built pillow forts and all kinds of stuff. Even as we get older, we can still capture some of that joy and that discovery and wonder and all that, those creative moments and things. Their creativity and imagination are like a muscle. The more we use them, the stronger they're going to be. But as much as I want to encourage you that you are awesome, and I truly, truly believe that, there's a lot more to your story than just being an awesome person. I believe that you have a purpose. And I kind of sum up my view of purpose in life as, you know, we've been given this world. We've been given this opportunity. We've been given so many things, and we should be doing all that we can to leave it better than we found it. And that includes not only the physical world, but the people around us as well. Because we, like it or not, were born to live in community. Now, these stick figures, of course, are not practicing safe social distancing. And in real life, I probably wouldn't be holding your hand anyway. I'm kind of might be a little bit awkward, but you get the metaphor, right? So, have you heard of the Dilbert principle? The Dilbert principle states that the most ineffective workers are systematically moved to the place where they can do the least damage to management. Well, early in my career, I worked for a manager who exemplified the Dilbert principle. I didn't like the man, I personally or professionally, and his incompetence was legendary. He was notoriously bad. Mistakes were named after him, and yet he still continued to rise in rank and responsibilities. Now, a lot of the work I was required to do under his direction was of no value to anyone. For example, I was asked to create a huge binder of documentation for every method and every stored procedure in the code that we were writing. No one was going to read this, ever. Meaningless and pointless work is soul crushing. I toughed it out for more than a year. I tried to find ways to get out from under him. With no hope of relief in sight, I found another job. I said to myself, life is too short to work somewhere that stinks. And you might even be agreeing with me right now. That's right. I don't have to put up with this crap. Take this job and shove it. Well, I started living by this philosophy and I offered it as advice to others when I heard them complaining about their jobs. You see, in technology, we are so privileged that we are in such high demand that we have the luxury of being able to pick and choose where we work. You know, that's not the case in every profession. Now, the problem is this idea began to pollute my perspective. When things started to go sour, I would think, oh, great, here we go again. Time to start looking for a new job. Years later, I was in a similar situation. I was unhappy. I started interviewing at other companies, and there was an attractive job offer on the table. And I was trying to decide, should I take it or not? And that's when my wife asked me two questions that made me stop in my tracks. She asked me, have you done everything that you can do? And if you were to leave now, would you have any regrets? Ah, man. Well, so I declined the job offer. I took ownership of the situation. I committed to doing everything I could to make my team successful. In the end, I left that job 1 year later, but I left having no regrets and proud of the work that we had accomplished. It had been one of the most prolific years in my career. Now, sure, there can be toxic environments and there can be career limiting situations. And there can be amazing opportunities that come along that can justify changing a job. But for everything else, I've got a new mindset. Life is too short to let things stay as they are. We've all heard that phrase, well, that's not my job. I have learned that taking ownership and responsibility is always the right thing to do, and it has far reaching effects. I've learned it's okay to be honest with your manager and ask yourself and the people around you, what can I do to help? To quote Martin Luther King Jr., it's always the right time to do the right thing. On the flip side, every now and again, we have to say goodbye to people, sometimes some really, really good people. And regardless of the circumstances, I hang on just a second. Hello. My camera seems to be going haywire. It's a new setup. I'm trying to get used to it. It's trying to get used to me. I don't know. Maybe it can't see me because of my beard. Back on track. Regardless of the circumstances, when these people leave, we let them know that they'll be missed and, the things that we remember them for. And sometimes we even throw a going away party, right? And we tell stories about awesome things that they did. Well, one day when we were having one of these kinds of celebrations, it struck me. Why can't we do this kind of thing all the time? Why do we have to wait until someone is leaving the company to let them know how awesome they are? Maybe if we had been telling them all along what kind of impact they were having on us personally, maybe they wouldn't be leaving. Maybe. So I decided to run an experiment. Every Friday for close to a year, I would sit down on a Friday morning and I would write a short tribute to someone at work describing the impact that person had made on me. The story about how maybe we first met or the first interaction or something awesome that they had done recently. Here's an example. Nakota was the customer support manager at one of my previous companies. And as someone described, he does the work of 10,000 people. Nakota consistently went above and beyond to make our customers happy. He is an awesome person. Now, the drawing isn't really that important. It's just something fun that I like to do. I like to draw. And what I said about each person usually wasn't all that special either. The real magic, and I want you to get this, the real magic was in what everyone else said throughout the day, story after story, encouragement, high fives. It was absolutely beautiful. All I did was help start the conversation. As I mentioned, the experiment lasted for about a year, and I had so many people come up to me and thank me for being recognized and celebrated by their peers in that way. You see, every one of us wants to know that the things we do matter, that our work has value and significance, that we personally have value and significance. Encouragement highlights a person's strengths. It's positive reinforcement. What does that person now want to do? They want to go out and keep doing more of those things that they got recognized for. And, to help, continue to feel that great feeling of making an impact. In reflecting of more than 10 years of, quote, agile and lean practice, software craftsmanship, if you want to call that, I've come to the conclusion that respect for people is the most fundamental principle. Respect requires a company and teams and individuals to do a number of things. Like if respect is at your core, then you're going to create a sustainable workplace where your employees can thrive. You're going to listen. You're going to empathize. You're going to have mutual respect building between folks. That when you know that people around you respect you, you're going to fight for one another as a team. It Respect seeks to promote healthy work, well-being, commitment to one another, and a commitment to reducing friction and any kind of wasteful activities, or to fix pain points because you care about what is happening to someone else, and what you can do to help alleviate someone else's pain. Respect, I believe, is what enables you to be successful at all the other things that you want to accomplish. Now, I grew up in a dysfunctional family, and there wasn't a whole lot of encouragement being shared. So I want to share, just an example. Maybe you can learn something too. Let me show you. Imagine you have a coworker named Mary. Mary, I want you to know how much I appreciate all the database work that you do for our team. Not only that, but you're always smiling and cheerful. You are such an encouragement to me and everyone around you. Thank you. Paul, thank you for always being willing to help. I know I can always count on you to help me when I'm stuck. It means a lot to me. You are awesome. Mark, thank you for always wearing deodorant and coming to work fully dressed. Keep up the good work, buddy. See, it's not that hard. We can find ways to encourage folks around us. One of the ways that I found that helps me to be more encouraging to others is to get in the right mindset. And the way that I can get in the right mindset, and you can get in the right mindset, is to take a moment each day to think, what am I grateful for? What are the things that, despite the circumstances, despite what's going on, that I can look to and say, wow, I am so glad, for that. Or maybe something terrible happened the week before, but now in hindsight, you realize it was actually a blessing in disguise. There's so many ways that you can, kind of keep that perspective. Just telling someone, thank you. Being able to give someone a public high five, well, metaphorically, right? No touching. Maybe you can implement some kind of points reward system where, you can give someone virtual high fives and they can exchange those points for swag or gift cards or something like that. The point is, don't wait. If there's someone that you know who has impacted you in some way, don't wait until it's too late. Let them know. Let's talk about multitasking. Our culture seems to be fixated on multitasking. We put it in our job descriptions. We put it in our resumes. The truth is, none of us are good at multitasking, no matter how hard we try to convince ourselves. Our industry talks about maximizing utilization. Well, a highway at 100% utilization is a parking lot. And it's not just my opinion, it's math. It's true for traffic. It's true for dynamics, fluid dynamics, and electricity. It's true for people. In a circus, there's always that fool that gets in a cage with a lion, and we think, this guy's going to kill himself. But the whip is cool, but what's up with the chair? Well, it turns out the whip is for the audience. The whip does nothing for the lion. The the chair is the critical component. You see, lions have incredible powers of focus. And when you put four legs of a chair in a lion's face, it can't decide which of those four legs it needs to worry about. And the lion becomes paralyzed with indecision. We are much the same way. When we have too many tasks on our plate and our brains become overloaded, we think we can switch from one task to another, but that's not how our brains work. Those tasks will haunt us even in our sleep. How many times have you woke up with the revelation of, oh, I know how to fix that problem? That's because our brains don't stop thinking and working on those things in our subconscious. And it may sound counterintuitive, but I trust me, if you can do everything that you can possibly do to focus on one thing at a time and finishing that one thing before you move on to something else, you will get more work done and it will be at higher quality without trying to juggle too many things at once. I submit to you that there are three inevitable things in life. There's death, taxes, and PowerPoint. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. Whether it's speaking to your team at a company or a meetup, you're going to have to stand in front of some folks and give a presentation of sorts. In 2011, I got up the courage to finally give my first talk, and I was terrible. But a funny thing happened. I learned a powerful lesson about community. I had people thank me, even though I knew I had done the worst job of speaking in speaker history. And it took a while for it to sink in, but there are some awesome people out there who will look past your mistakes, who will see the good and potential that's in you, and will encourage you to not give up. You see, when I gave my first talk, people didn't remember how I fumbled around. They remembered me. They remembered that in some small way, I helped them. In 2016, I had the privilege of giving a keynote at Music City Code in Nashville, Tennessee, which is where I used to live. And I had more than one person come up to me and say, I remember when you gave your first talk. I was there. And you're right. You were terrible. All right. So you might be saying to yourself, I can understand being forced or volunteered to speak, but why would I speak voluntarily? Well, let me tell you, having someone not only understand your message, but be inspired to go and do that thing that you're talking about is one of the most rare and precious rewards I have ever experienced. Public speaking is an amazing skill that you can learn that will help you to become an influencer in your community. However, it's not the only thing you can do. Public speaking is just one of many ways that you can give back. Incredible things happen when you get involved in your community. You make new connections, new friendships, exciting opportunities come along that things that you may have never dreamed of. Now, I understand imposter syndrome, and that's what keeps people from doing things like this a lot. The secret is you don't have to be an expert. You have something that no one else has. You have your experience. No one can argue with your motivations and your experience with a particular technology or whatever it is that you want to share with the rest of the world. We love hero stories. There's movies and comic books, and that theme is just throughout all of our culture. I want you to know that you are the hero in your story. I believe that you are capable of more than you realize. You have so much potential to do good in this world. And I believe you can do amazing things. I believe there are three key ingredients to following your heart and learning that new skill or accomplishing that big goal that you want to do. Along with patience is learning to forgive yourself. You're going to make mistakes. Mistakes don't mean that you're a failure. Mistakes are the best way to learn. I make mistakes every single day. Every successful person that you see is standing on a burning trash heap of mistakes. As Bob Ross would say, happy little accidents. I also believe that all of us have a responsibility to make an impact on people around us, especially those of us in technology. We have such a unique and amazing opportunity to touch lives all around the world through the power of technology. You never know if some act of kindness, a small investment of your time, could be the catalyst that inspires someone else on their journey. To recap and wrap things up, here are the 7 ways I believe you can unlock your potential. Live with the end in mind. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Take responsibility. Be respectful and encourage others. Be grateful for what you have and the opportunity you have. Recognize the blessings that you have. Be patient and forgive yourself. Manage your time wisely and share your experiences and blessings with others. As always, I want to encourage you to go maximize your talents, go be courageous, go inspire others, go and be awesome. Thank you.